Oops, there's one thing I forgot in the pros section for Android, and in particular Nova Launcher working with Android. When you have Nova Launcher, you can even customize the look of your folders. Now, one challenge I often have with iOS on my iPad, even though it has a larger screen, is when I have stuff in folders, they all look the same, like the folders all look the same to me. So it's hard for me to tell what folder is which. So in which case I have to turn on VoiceOver to hunt down a folder. With Android, I almost never have to do that because I can change the folder preview, meaning what the folder looks like when you're just simply looking at it. So for example, I have mine selected as stack. You can also have it like a grid, which is pretty much like what iOS has, although even the Android grid is better than iOS's, because with the Android and Nova Launcher screen grid, there are 4 icons displayed instead of, I believe iOS has 6 icons that are displayed. So again, it makes them smaller, harder to see. Again, they all look the same. But with a 4 icon grid, the icons are that much bigger that it just makes it a bit easier to see and recognize, okay, this is what that folder is. You can also have them spanned out as a fan, and you can also have them as a line. I like the option of the stack because what happens is the first app that is in your folder will show up then as the first app in the stack. So it shows up bigger and more recognizable. So for example, my music folder, I've got the TuneIn Radio app. I know right away as soon as I see that is my music folder. In my video folder, I've got the YouTube app. So again, right away, I know that that's my video folder, and you can see the other apps peeking behind it. But it's just, I don't know, it makes the folders more recognizable for me. And, you know, because you can easily, even as someone who's visually impaired and legally blind, I can still easily see the colors of that app that's in the forefront, thus identifying the folder in question. Another thing I love about Android is the fact that it takes better advantage of the larger screen, especially with Samsung devices. iOS, like I said in part 1 of this 2-part comparison, iOS tends to make everything in the side menu is really small and just the stuff in the main menu is really big. With at least my Note 4, in the email app, the header of who sent the email is large. And then the email side, now by default, the email side, it shows here as being rather small because I've got it on side view. But I can zoom in on the email to make that larger. Now, of course, with iOS, you can pinch to zoom in your email and do that as well. But with the side menu as to who sent what, it's still quite small. And I just really wish that Apple would make that part larger. And I complained a lot about that in part 1, so I won't go on about it. But again, just wanted to show you how in Android, it's a better layout as far as that is concerned. That being said, there are a few downsides to Android. I know I sound like a total Android fangirl, but I do see both sides of the coin. Now, one of my big beefs with Android is TalkBack has some inconsistencies. It doesn't work as seamlessly as VoiceOver does, and that's why I suggest if you are totally blind, you may want to stick with Apple. But if you are the type of person who can flip, sorry, I'm knocking stuff over, but if you are the type of person that can flip back and forth between having TalkBack on, using magnification on the device, or using Zoom, etc., then you may be able to get away with the idiosyncrasies of TalkBack. For example, sometimes I will be on a Facebook page and TalkBack will have trouble reading a certain link. Other times I'll be on a web page and it won't be able to read certain parts of the page, or sometimes it won't be able to read any of it unless I reload the page completely. Other times it will read parts of the page, but not other parts of the page. I find that happens less with voiceover on Apple. It does happen from time to time with Apple, but much, much less. On the other hand, a few days after I recorded this section about TalkBack originally, I noticed that there seemed to have been some improvements. The other night I was on Facebook and I turned TalkBack on, purposely trying to stump it, and I actually couldn't. So it seems to me that Google has recently snuck an update into TalkBack where somehow it's just working better. The voice is faster. It just seems like it's working better. I tried the same thing with the website to stump it to see if I could get it not to work with a website. And if memory serves right, there was a section of one site where it still had trouble with. So still a bit of work to be done on the website side of things. But at least with Facebook, which I use like all the time, way more than I probably should be, it's working better. So it seems like even in the progress of me doing this review, there's been some improvement with TalkBack. Another downside to Android is admittedly the learning curve. iOS has a much gentler learning curve than Android. It probably took me, about a week just to even start feeling comfortable with Android, and probably a month to really, truly master it, just because there's so much you can customize, especially if you have a Samsung device. Add Nova Launcher on top of that, and I was having fun. I spent a lot of time with my phone, but I'm a geek, so I don't mind that kind of thing. But if you are less of a geek and you just want stuff to work out of the box, you don't want to fiddle with settings, you don't care about customization, you might want to stick with iOS, but just be prepared to pay a pretty penny. The last issue that I have with Android accessibility that I've experienced so far, at least in the last 3 years, is the zoom feature. Unlike the zoom in iOS that works flawlessly, the zoom feature in Android, as this screen says right here, will make your phone run slower. It will slow various apps down, such as the calculator, etc. And I found that it also depletes the heck out of your battery, and it also made my Note 4 run hot. And even when I didn't have zoom on, but I had it, let me rephrase that. Even though I had zoom set to on, but I didn't actually have the phone zoomed, it still made my phone run hot and totally depleted the battery. That is not acceptable. So that's a big no-no for the Android camp. That being said, I don't use zoom a whole lot. I probably should. It would probably save my glasses because I'm constantly scratching my glasses with my handheld magnifier. But if I need a bit more magnification, I find it easier just to use a magnifying glass. I find zoom on a small screen rather cumbersome, so I don't use it probably as much as maybe some people might. But again, it's something to be aware of, that if you're going to use zoom, at least on a Samsung device, it does make the device run hot. I would love to try this on another device, such as a Nexus or whatnot, to see if the same effect happens. So I have a friend who's actually got a Nexus. I should get him to play with it and I can report back in a future video. But other than the zoom, the TalkBack idiosyncrasies, and the learning curve, that's really all I can find to complain about with Android. It really is a good and robust and flexible system. Basically, you get a lot of bang for your buck with Android. So that is pretty much it. In summary, if you are totally blind, or you want a phone to just work and you don't want to tweak and customize it, and you have a big chunk of change to spare, go with iOS. If you, on the other hand, have partial vision, can alternate back and forth between voiceover and magnification, using a magnifying glass and so on and so forth, and you like to tweak different settings, and even if you don't like to tweak settings all that much, I have a couple of friends that have defected to Android, and they don't tweak their settings nearly as much as I do. They still prefer Android. And actually, all of my legally blind friends with partial vision who are able to read large print and use a magnifier and so on, pretty much all of us have defected from iOS to Android. Most of us started out using iOS, just like many of you who may be listening to this, and we defected because the price just can't be beat and the customization can't be beat. So if you're willing to work with the learning curve with Android, I absolutely suggest going with Android. In the end, of course, this is all just my opinion as someone who's used both devices, but hopefully these two comparison videos have helped you in deciding what to choose for your next device and which is going to work best for you. In the end, though, of course, it all comes down to personal choice. That's what it's all about, but I bring you these videos just to help you in making that choice. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. Here at Circle of the Blind Mice, I bring you these videos because I believe technology enriches the lives of those of us with visual impairments. My mission is to help you learn tech, use tech, and embrace tech. Please like and share this video to help spread the word to your fellow blind mice. And if you're new here, please subscribe for new videos every Wednesday. Thanks for watching.